Welcome back, Short Kings. This is part 2 of 20 reasons why the PS5 is better than the PS4. Now, obviously, a newer console is supposed to be better, and things like graphics and hardware will give us better performance, but that's not what we're talking about here. Previously, we did a 2-part series on why the PS4 was better than the PS5. Software features like custom themes, folders, and the community tab made gamers miss the PS4, and hardware features like optical audio out and 3D Blu-ray compatibility actually made the older console come out on top because those features were missing on the PS5. So today we're going to continue covering features the PlayStation 5 improved upon the PS4. In part 1 of why the PS5 is better, we talked about the fan noise, frame rate, resolution, load times, as well as a few chapters dedicated to the DualSense controller. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the quality of life improvements, because of course better hardware leads to better performance. What we're focusing on are the quiet improvements that make your life easier.
Fixing this dimensional anomaly.
The quick mute. Did you know that the DualSense controller has a built-in microphone? It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. Not only is this useful when you really want to communicate with your team, especially when typing isn't an option, but it also opens up voice typing, so you have the best of both worlds. If you're not a headset person, but your team is just not listening to you, you have 2 options instead of yelling at your screen. You can either enable the mic and talk into your controller to warn your teammates, or if you're sick of typing on that TV keyboard, you can enable this feature and talk to text. So just say what you want to say and it converts it to text. This is so much faster than typing using that god-awful TV remote enter your email style of default typing. But the mic is not just useful for multiplayer games. You can use it in everyday operations. Search for your favorite movie or gaming YouTuber. Subscribe. Just talk into the controller, say their name, and you're searching. It sure beats typing the other way. Personally, why I love this mic feature is recording capture gameplays whenever I'm playing a co-op game with my girlfriend.
Oh!
I know that there's a part coming up that will get a good reaction out of her, so I make sure the mic is not muted and record passively. Then we watch it back later and laugh. It's not the best audio, but it's way more natural when playing on a TV than both of us putting on headsets all of a sudden. Not to mention that using headsets usually only records her voice or my voice. I can't pick both. Now, having a microphone built into your controller might actually be a bad thing, because always on scares people. I don't want to be listened to at all times. But don't worry, they've thought of that too. See this little button here? When you press it, the light comes on, and that's how you know it's been muted. So if you forgot to change the audio input in the settings and it's still set to the controller as the default input audio, just look down to make sure you are muted. This button works with any mic you have plugged in, whether it's a headset mic, wired or wireless, or a direct mic plugged in via USB, or the controller's built-in mic. This button mutes all of your mics, all incoming input audio. And the best part is, if you hold this button, there's an extra feature. If you hold it for 5 seconds, it mutes all audio. Sometimes you need to mute the whole TV, the chat, the game, all the noises to hear something happening in the other room. And you can do that with just one button. Doing this on the PS4 was definitely not this easy. You had to dig through the quick menu or mess around with your headset controls, assuming your headset even had a mute switch. As far as muting all of your audio coming from the TV, forget about it. So this sounds like such a small thing, but the quick mute feature and the built-in microphone is such a nice, quiet improvement and a low-key lifesaver. Quick menu. Okay, this one's going to be quick. Speaking of the PS4's quick menu, most of us had it memorized and could turn off the console without even looking at the screen on the PS4. We knew exactly where the buttons were because they were quick and handy, and we just relied on muscle memory. When coming to the PS5, the quick menu there might throw you off. It's a horizontal menu instead of a vertical menu, so it takes a bit of getting used to. But it has one thing that the PS4 doesn't: customization. That's right, you can customize the control center, which is the PS5's version of the quick menu. You get to decide where the buttons go. If you want the power options to the left instead of to the right, you can change that. You don't care about the music tab? Just remove it entirely. Accessibility tab? Gone. Game base, if you don't chat? Gone. Download bar? Nope. You get to choose which quick menu options are there or not, and you get to choose in what order. This is sort of similar to the quick setting panels on your phones. You know when you swipe down and rearrange all your toggles, the Wi-Fi, data, flashlight, location. You know how you can move those things around in the menu? The PS5 gives you that same level of control over your console experience. Just a quick chapter for the quick menu.
It would be crazy to make a writer on Ovitoland.
System-wide preferences. Speaking of customization, this one's all about your preferences. See if you can relate. You boot up a game for the first time, what do? Press start to play? Or are you like me and immediately go into the game settings and see what options need to change? If you constantly find yourself going into each and every game settings menu to change things like inverted control or whether you prefer resolution mode or performance mode, well, you don't have to do that anymore. The PS5 allows you to change those settings in the system menu. It respects your personal preferences across every game. You can set universal defaults instead of digging through setting menus for every single game you boot up. It's quite the time saver. It's called Game Presets. Amongst the options you can change are difficulty. You can keep it as the game's default or change it to a harder or easier difficulty, and it will remember the next time you boot up a new game. If games are too easy and you find yourself always changing it to make it harder for more of a challenge, you can do that here in the system menu, and the games you play will remember that. Every PS5 games ask you, do you want performance or resolution? Or rather, most games actually assume I want resolution mode to show off ray tracing or things I don't care about. Personally, I'd rather have performance mode any day of the week. Give me those frames. I'd rather have 60 FPS and 120 FPS than an extra few pixels. So whenever I boot a game, I'm often disappointed by the 30 frames per second and have to pause, go into options, go into the settings, change it to performance mode, restart the game sometimes. Well, you don't have to do that. You can change those settings right here. There's also 2 more settings for you weirdos out there. No offense, but there's 2 separate options for inverted controls, first person and third person. So if for some reason you prefer third person games in inverted controls and first person's not, you can totally do that here for whatever reason. Also, if you play a lot of Japanese games, this next one's huge. You can change the subtitles and audio language. So some people prefer the English dub, but I always find it cheesy. I always keep the audio original and just the subtitles in English. Instead of changing that in each game, you can do that here and it remembers. So neat. There's even an option for online multiplayer sessions. Are you tired of people joining in your sessions uninvited and having to turn that off in each game to avoid a surprise? You can do that here. You can change who can join. Only invited players. The next option is even better. Now, sometimes someone random is already in your party and they can invite another random. Well, you could put a stop to it right here. Only the leader can invite friends. Not every game follows these rules to the letter. Some will still try to override your system default settings, but when it works, you'll really appreciate it. It's a subtle and powerful way the PS5 respects your time, way more than the PS4 did. It's almost an invisible feature though, because you'll forget all about it once it starts working. Every new game just feels more welcoming. Game help. Let's talk about game help. It took me forever to get used to this. I thought I'd never use it because I was so stuck in the old ways. Whenever you boot up a PS5 game that's supported, the first pop-up you see on your console, and even on your phone if you have the PS Mobile app, is, "This game has game help." What the heck does that mean? Well, we gotta answer the question first of, what do you do when you're stuck in a game? If your answer is, pause the game, go to YouTube, find a playthrough that's 40 minutes long, and skip through it until it gets to the part you're stuck at, oops, went too far, got a spoiler, rewind, okay, so that's how you solve it. Thanks. Then go back to the game. Then this feature is custom built for you. The PlayStation 5 offers help with your games. As the name suggests. Game Help is available to all PS5 owners. You don't need PS Plus. It provides official, developer-curated hints if the game supports it. At its most basic level, Game Help provides text-based hints. Just a simple explanation of what you need to do. Clues to help you figure out where to go next. These are straightforward, targeted at your current objective, and for the most part, spoiler-free. It's like a nudge in the right direction straight from the developers instead of some random YouTuber who you know will get sidetracked sidetracked. But where Game Help really shines are the videos. That's right, if the game supports it, a short silent gameplay clip will play over top of your game. Picture-in-picture video hints. These videos aren't long like those 40-minute YouTube walkthroughs, just a quick 30-second clip showing exactly what you need to do right now. It's enough to give you the answer without over-explaining or getting sidetracked. And the best part? No ads. The video plays right on your paused game screen. You don't have to switch apps, close the game, or even take out your phone. It is seamless. If you really want, you can pin the video in the corner of your screen and play the game at the same time. It's like having a spoiler-free walkthrough built into your system. If it's a first-party game, chances are you will have Game Help. Some other games are starting to support it too. It doesn't sound too flashy, but once you've used this video in video mode to help you get through a tricky situation, or a hard-to-find collectible, you will not miss the old ways of Googling and sitting through ads and fast-forwarding just to get to the solution, which sometimes isn't even there. It's so frustrating. My personal favorite thing about Game Help is this thing right here. When you click on an activity, at the very bottom it gives you a playtime estimate. So in this case, it says 50 minutes. This helps so much at night. Like say I only want to play for half an hour. This lets you know whether the mission is worth doing or not right now. Oh, maybe I'll leave this till later. The neatest part about these help videos is that you can sign up to have your footage used. So if you want to be a part of this, a part of the solution for every gamer, PlayStation will use your clips to help other gamers who get stuck if you sign up. How cool is that? I wish we got paid for that.
What, you know this guy or something?
Frank.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner.
The PS Collection. This next win is expired, so it may seem unfair. One of the most underappreciated perks for early adopters of the PlayStation 5 was something called the PlayStation Plus Collection. This was a library of 20 top-tier games that were instantly downloadable and playable on the PS5 at no extra charge. Now, the PS4 did give you some free games like Resogun when it launched, but it was nothing compared to this. This was a huge list of games that would keep you busy for a year or two. God of War, Bloodborne, Uncharted 4, Detroit, Persona 5, Resident Evil Biohazard, Fallout 4, and many others. Now granted, these were technically PS4 games, but this was a greatest hits collection. If you were new to PlayStation and didn't have a PS4, this was huge. It was a great starter kit to get caught up in modern PlayStation gaming and franchises. You didn't need to buy new games and could keep busy tackling the greatest hit backlog for quite a few months. These PS4 games obviously ran better on the PS5 with smoother frame rates and faster loading times, and some were even patched up, so they felt more like remasters rather than just retro titles. This helped soften the blow of early shortages and the lack of true PS5 exclusives for early adopters. But sadly, the PS Collection wasn't permanent. Sony officially retired this offer 2 years ago, May 2023. So if you didn't get to add these games to your library, you missed out. They were basically treated like monthly games. So once they're in your library, they're there as long as you remain a PS Plus member. In hindsight, it was one of the most generous moves Sony made, which is quite rare these days. It came and went without much fanfare or appreciation. We never get free stuff from Sony. A 20 game head start is nothing to sneeze at, even if they were older games. I personally hadn't played half of them, and still haven't tackled quite a few from this collection until this day. So for me, this was a huge win.
When we take their life, we look them in the eye with courage and respect. This is what makes us samurai.
The game library. Now, while we're on the topic of libraries, let's talk about the entire game catalog. Yes, it's true, the PS4 had a massive library by the 5-year mark. A great selection of exclusives, indies, and third-party titles under its belt. And if you're comparing sheer volume of exclusive games at the 5-year mark, the PS4 wins by a long shot. And that's why we gave the PS4 a point in its own video. But that's only part of the story. We forgot to mention one important little tiny detail. The PS5 can play almost all of those PS4 games too. Thanks to the PlayStation 5's backward compatibility, it starts with a giant head start. It doesn't need to start from scratch. The PS5 doesn't just run PS4 games, whether digital or disc, it runs them better. Higher and more stable frame rates, faster loading times, better resolution, and many games have new built-in DualSense features added. So while the PS5 does get criticized and memed, about having so few true exclusive games? When it comes to what games you can actually play today, the PS5 actually has access to more games overall, even when compared to the PS4 5 years after it came out, because I don't remember the PS4 playing PS3 games. In fact, I'd argue it's the ultimate PlayStation because it can play more games than any of its predecessors. Listen, we got some PS5 exclusives, not as many as you'd like, but it's actually a surprising big list when you see all the games the PS5 can play that the PS4 can't. We got the short memed list of true exclusives, 9th generation games that can only be played on the PS5, and this is where the list gets made fun of. These are games like Astro Bot, Demon's Souls, Stellar Blade, Spider-Man 2, games that can only be played on the PlayStation 5. But the list is only so small because so many games got ported to PC as well, but not on Xbox. So we call these games console exclusives. So as I'm making this video, worth noting, Sony just dropped this blog 9 minutes ago. So let's add Stellar Blade to the list of PS5/PC games. These are more popular games: Black Myth Wukong, Helldivers 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Silent Hill 2. Then after that, we get to the list of remasters: Devil May Cry 5, Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, and The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. Probably the weakest and least exciting of the list because these games play just fine on the PS4. Not Uncharted 4 at 120 frames per second fine, but an okay, at least it runs at 30 FPS fine. But when things really start looking good for the PS5 is when we start talking about 9th generation games in general that are not exclusive, that are available on Xbox as well. When you add these games to the mix, the PS5's catalog starts to make more sense. These are games like Alan Wake 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Baldur's Gate 3, Ghost Runner 2, Remnant 2, RoboCop, Teardown, and The Medium. And this isn't even including free-to-play games like X-Defiant, Valorant, and The Finals. You add to the list PSVR 2 games and indies to the mix, and now the PS5 catalog is finally looking more healthier. This is a huge list of games, all of them unplayable on the PlayStation 4. So we have this huge list of games on the PS5, and we get to play every PS4 game ever made. So add a few more thousand to that. And on top of this, if you have PS Plus Premium, you can play all the classic games too. We're talking PS3, PS2, PSP, and even original PS1 games. So even though PS5 gets a very well-deserved moniker of the remaster machine, it should be noted that it's a great emulator machine as well. So when we add all of these together, it starts to look ridiculous. Now, I know all these games aren't available on PS Premium, but the potential is there. More games than days you've been alive. So let's just wrap this up by saying yes. The list of truly exclusive PS5 games is quite small. The number of games it can actually play, though, is unprecedented. Also worth mentioning that Xbox exclusives are slowly starting to make their way over here. And with the PS4 being phased out next year, we're finally starting to see 9th generation exclusive games shine this year. So yes, PS5 has no games, but at the same time, PS5 has the most games out of any console ever. That's PlayStation. Discord chat. Let's be honest, voice chat isn't very friendly if you have cross-platform friends. Each console's party chat feels isolated. When I was playing Minecraft on the PlayStation and my friends were on Xbox or PC, I'd have to download the Xbox app on my phone, create a new Microsoft account, and then just chat with them on the phone like a regular voice call. If I'm lucky, my headset supports dual inputs, so I can listen to the game and the chat at the same time. If not so lucky, you put the phone on speaker or just turn off the game's audio. It was not a fun time. Some cross-platform free-to-play games like Apex and Call of Duty did a better job with in-game chat, but that meant dealing with randoms and also terrible audio quality. That all changed 1 year ago. In June of 2024, Discord and the PlayStation 5 finally became friends. That's right. The PlayStation 5 finally got a Discord update and became fully integrated into the console's UI. So similar to that awful workaround using your phone, you could both connect your Discord account and have a chat on the phone. But the neat part is at any time you can click a button that says transfer voice to PlayStation. And then next thing you know, it's on your PlayStation headset. That's right, no need for dual input audio on fancy headsets or juggling a phone and your headset at the same time. It just works like it was supposed to. This was a huge update that we have been asking for years. Once you create this party chat, it's always there. It's a room, just like in Discord. You can use your phone phone or your console to see who's in the room, talk to them, or type in the Discord chat and say, hold on, let me boot up, I'll join in 5 minutes. So what happens now when you press the game base icon, you still see your native PS5 party chat and messages, but now there is a separate tab dedicated to Discord. It is built in. You can join right from your console. It's a small win, but a huge win if you have cross-platform friends. Before, it was either they download the PS app and create a PSN account, or you download the Xbox app and create a Microsoft account. But now with Discord, we can both finally join PC players and see what we've been missing on all these years. Game base, picture in picture. Now, if you're lucky to have PlayStation friends, this next one's for you. On the PS4, party chat was pretty straightforward, like a teleconference call. You joined a party and you talked. It worked, but it was bare bones. The messaging feature also was its own thing too, just text, back and forth. The PS5 overhauled the whole system by combining it all to a thing called Game Base. You can chat via voice or text, jump between parties more fluidly, and access all your friends without needing to leave the game. Some people preferred the original instead of this more social feed. Sure, you can send game clips, photos, or even share screens, but that's not what I want to talk about. You could do much of that on the PS4, even though it was more fragmented. We're going to talk about the most game-changing feature to come out of the game base. And that, for me at least, is easily the picture-in-picture screen sharing. Now, screen sharing did exist on the PS4, but you had two options. You could stream your gameplay to your friends or watched their gameplay on your screen. It was one or the other. On the PlayStation 5, all that changed with picture-in-picture. You can see your screen and your friend's screen at the same time. Their gameplay shows up in a tiny floating window. You can pin this to the side and suddenly you're watching two screens but still in the game. This seems like a very silly gimmick to just see what your buddy is up to. You can play your game and they can play their game. But when you are both in the same game, the same lobby, on the same team, this becomes a cheat code. In competitive multiplayer games, this becomes a tactical advantage. You get to have access to two perspectives at once. On the PS4, you tried to help your teammate by verbal communication, or even worse, text-based communication in the chat. Simple things like, he's in that house, second window, sniping and camping caused a lot of confusion. Which house? Which window? What are you talking about? But now you can see what they see. You don't have to explain that there's an enemy sneaking up behind them. They can see it with their own eyes. So in games where tactics and positioning matters, picture-in-picture is almost a cheat code, giving you a second set of eyes. It feels like a cheat, but it comes with a price. You have to have friends first.
Good for you. Rock on, then.
Audio immersion. The PlayStation 5 has superior hardware, that's a given, and a lot of attention has been placed on its visual improvements to games. I get it, a lot of gamers only care about graphics. If video games were themselves an RPG character, the majority of gamers would pump up the graphics stats and sacrifice story and gameplay, which is what we see happening with a lot of AAA titles, and gamers not even finishing games because they get so bored easily. But something that doesn't get enough attention, not as much as visual, is the PlayStation 5's leap forward in audio technology. Sure, we lost the optical out from previous generation that allowed us to have home theater systems, and we now have to buy another dongle to make it work again, but you'll forgive relying on HDMI for sound when you put on a pair of nice headphones that support the Tempest 3D audio tech. This is Sony's custom built-in 3D audio engine that makes sounds in your game feel like they're coming from all around you, not just left or right. Now you can differentiate between above, below, or even behind. So if an enemy is on the floor above you or below you, you can hear that with the proper headphones. Or in a single player game, you can hear the raindrops above. Now everyone's head is shaped differently, which is why people perceive sound directions slightly differently than each other. So you can customize this feature by doing a number of tests and tailoring it to your liking until it sounds just right. This 3D tech tricks your brain into thinking sounds are coming from a specific space. So in The Last of Us, instead of using Joel's magic sense to see through walls, which I always hated, you can use your actual ears like you would in real life. Not only that, but recently Sony added audio focus in the latest update. This helps you further dial in what you want to hear. So if your headphones are not bassy enough, you can emphasize low-pitch sounds like engines, gunshots, and explosions. If you can't hear the characters talking over all the in-game noises and explosions, you can choose to make the dialogue more clear. This feature is great to custom tailor the sound to your ears. You can even make it so you can hear footsteps a little bit louder than everything else, which is quite the advantage in online multiplayer games. All these audio features just boost immersion. It makes you feel like you're more in the game. You combine this with VR, and now we're talking. The PS app, remote control. Okay, here's a bonus one. The PlayStation app isn't new, but on the PS5, it can do way more stuff. It lets you manage your PS5 console remotely in ways that were just not possible before. Yes, you can download games just like the PS4, see who's online, message and voice chat, even browse the PS Store. But on the PS5, those features have been more streamlined. The chat is replaced by GameBase, the PS Store is built into the PS5's UI, so it doesn't feel like you're just browsing a separate website, and there are a bunch of new features. First, you can remotely manage your storage. That's right, you can check how much storage you have left on your PS5 through your phone. Running out of room? Well, now you can delete games directly from your phone. Say you're at work or school and a new game just dropped, and you don't want to go home, clear your storage to make room, and then wait 2 hours for your games to download and install. You have limited time. So with this feature, as long as your PS5 is in rest mode, you can start the download while you're still hours away from being home. Then by the time you boot up your console, the game is fully installed and ready for you to play it. This next PS5 exclusive feature on the PlayStation app is great for social media. The biggest pain I had when playing on the PS4 was moving my game clips around. If I wanted to share a funny clip online, I had to save it on a USB, plug the USB into a computer, save the clip online somewhere, download it on my phone, and then upload it to social media. With the PS5, gameplay clips and screenshots are automatically uploaded to the cloud. If it's a short clip, it's already on your phone. You don't have to do all those steps anymore. You can view, download, and share all of your recent clips right from your phone. Not only does it show what games you've played recently, but just like the PS5, it tells you how many hours you've spent on those games. Lastly, to tie it in with the previous chapter, Game Help is also available through your phone. So if you're playing a game, you get stuck and you pull out your phone naturally, you can view those mini tutorials we talked about right there. You don't have to split the screen and go through all of that if you prefer the phone method. You can check your activities and it will show you what's in progress, what you haven't started, and what's completed. It's very helpful when you actually use it. Alright, there you have it. 21 reasons over the course of 2 entire videos. The PS4 had 20 reasons why it was better than the PS5, and now the PS5 has 20 reasons why it's better than the PS4. I hope everyone's happy. Thanks a lot for jumping into this journey with me. It was a fun and insightful series to do and research. I learned something new and I hope you did as well. I really enjoyed reading all your comments and hearing your reasons why you preferred one over the other. If you want to support the channel and you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe. If you're on PS Plus and you really want to support this channel, become a member, because not only do you get these videos early, but you get access to spreadsheets that include all the PS Plus games over Metacritic ratings of 70. This spreadsheet includes runtimes as well. It's updated once a month and you only have to download it once. So you don't have to be a member more than 1 month unless you really like this channel. So thanks for watching, and until next time, be a friend, and I'll see you again.